Well, it looks like everyone in Japan over there is kind of freaked out a little bit as to what's going on with AMD and why do so many people want to buy their new graphics cards. Well, I can tell you why, because maybe everyone is sick of NVIDIA and they're switching from Team Green to Team Red. Now, of course, AMD can go down that same path if the launch is absolutely horrible, but if it's any indication, the RX 9070 XT launch has been good so far. Cross our fingers that it continues to go very well, because a lot of people are, like I said, deciding to switch over for a whole bunch of reasons. And, one of them is stock. Maybe you want an NVIDIA card, but there's no stock, there's nowhere to get it, and you don't want to get it from eBay and pay like $10,000 Canadian plus for it. So there's that. And that's probably just one of the reasons, people are switching teams, literally. Of course, the other reason is, all the issues and the launch that has happened with NVIDIA, and people maybe don't have as much confidence in NVIDIA when it comes to their graphics cards as they once did, which is kind of a shift in a way, right? Back in the day, you would go with Intel CPUs, you would go with NVIDIA video cards because they were better. They were better at, gaming. They were better at processing. But we're seeing a shift now, which is absolutely wonderful, because what this will do is it will pit company against company, and hopefully it will create and spur innovation, and also maybe on some level, maybe just reduce the prices of these cards, because they're all ridiculous. Even the RX 9070 XT is, in my opinion, a little bit too high. And like I said, there's shortages because they are very, very popular. And not only are people like you and I going out and getting AMD video cards, I mean, to be fair, I don't have one yet, but I'm literally, if AMD was to release like a high-end top-tier video card, I think I would probably switch to AMD for my next video card, just really out of principle, in all honesty, just out of principle. But we will see. We will see what AMD is going to do in the future. Hopefully they won't turn into, like NVIDIA. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, they're all shocked here. They're all like, what's going on? And, why are people buying our graphics cards? Well, I think they know. They just kind of, I think they're a little bit, mystified. And I get that. I do. But what has happened here, apparently right now, this particular time, 45% of market share now is AMD. So they said that AMD now has 45% of the graphics card market in Japan, and they're not stopping there. They're going to aim for 70%. Go for it. Absolutely. Do it. Now, make sure you head over here and check the article out. I will provide a link to it in the YouTube description down below. There's also some really interesting comments as well here, and as well on the X page, and I will link to this as well. But this is absolutely fabulous to see. Now, most of the reviews, at least the ones that I have seen so far, seem to indicate that the RX 9070 XT does really well when pitted up against either the RTX 5070 or the 5070 Ti when it comes to raw performance. Not upscaling and AI technology. Certainly NVIDIA excels there when it comes to DLSS 4, as well as multi-frame generation. If you want that, probably stick with NVIDIA. But if you want true raw performance, I mean, AMD has their own upscaling technologies, but it's not quite as good as NVIDIA. So if you want raw performance, probably your best option right now is to get yourself into an RX 9070 XT video card. And a lot of people are. I mean, AMD is claiming that this particular card gives you 23% more performance for the price, and that's probably true when you consider the performance and the price. So I wouldn't call it a budget card. It's not, it doesn't have great bang for the buck, but considering, I think bang for the buck has changed in 2025 because everything bang for the buck now is extremely expensive anyway. But right now, at least, I hope they can get their stock levels up. I think this is a great card to get yourself into. So if you had a choice and one card was a couple $100 less than the other one. Which one would you go for when it comes to a middle of the road card? Would you pick an NVIDIA RTX 5070 Ti, or maybe just a plain Jane one, or would you go with the AMD RX 9070 XT? And that leads me to my next question. Which will be your next video card? Will you go with AMD or will you go with NVIDIA?